Well, I'm here at the barn, and almost a year ago to the day, I had a bit of an incident here. My horse and I separated, and I didn't plan to do that, but it's what happened. And I'm standing real close to where it happened, and I thought for those of you who didn't hear about this, didn't know about it, I'd tell you a little bit about what happened that day a year ago and why I'm really happy actually to be standing here smiling, telling the story. I had just come out of the barn and was riding away from the barn to meet a friend on one of my other horses. And I was in this area right up here. And as you can see, I'm maybe 10 or 15 feet from the barn. And right in this area, unknown to me, was an exposed power line, a 110 volt power line. And it had a little bit of water over it. You couldn't see it. And I rode over here with my horse, and his foot happened to hit that power line. Well, next thing you know, you've got an 1,100 pound animal with my 220 pounds on his back, and he doesn't know whether he got bit, whether I'm doing something to him. All I know is that he didn't like what happened, and he wanted to leave town. And he started going straight up. In other words, he was leaving straight up. And we started going this way. I thought, you know, I can stay on this. I can ride this out. If I get him to run, I'll be okay. Well, he wasn't running. He kept going up and down and up and down and spinning. So I started to go this way with him. And I'm still on him till I get about over to here. And when I hit about here, I realized I wasn't gonna make the time I needed to make to stay on him. And it was like, find some place to land. And you're thinking about this in a heartbeat. I saw grass over here, and I thought if I can make it to that grass, I'm diving for the grass because this is a little hard here. So I started to go that way. I pulled my right foot out of the stirrup to dive that way, and when I did, he went up in the air again, and he spun that direction, which threw me this way, and I hit this hard ground. And when I hit the ground, I knew something wasn't well because I went to breathe and nothing happened. And I hopped up, and I thought, okay, I just knocked the wind out of myself. That wasn't what happened. I still couldn't breathe. And I realized, uh-oh, lung is probably gone. I know I broke some ribs. I could feel my shoulder was shot, but I hopped up and I thought, I've got to get help. And I had to make it back into the barn to call 911. And it was a long walk back into the barn when you can't breathe. Now, you know, I got in there and I made the phone call. I talked to 911. I explained, or like I should say, I whispered to 911 very quietly because I couldn't move any air out of my lungs, that I'd come off the horse and I had a collapsed lung. I had what they call a tension pneumothorax. Many years as a paramedic, sort of knew what was going on. And I needed to get Lane Life Trans, interesting company I would expect to be here, and Canfield Fire EMS to get down here and help me out. And they were here pretty quick, gotta admit. It didn't seem like very long. And they started to work on me and did a great job and saved me, and had to actually stick a needle in my chest and allow the pressure to equalize in my chest because I couldn't breathe, and get me into the trauma center at St. E's, where they also took a great care of me. And I kiddingly laugh now, Canfield Fire Department is building a multi-million-dollar facility about 600 yards up the road. And I was teasing the guys that it was really nice that they care enough about me that they wanted to build a fire department real close to the barn in case I got hurt again. So I really appreciated that. So thank you guys for all that. They're going to only be 600 yards away, so you know, I don't have to worry if I fall off next year. I haven't had this coat on since then either, and I hadn't put it back on. And funny story about that is I had this coat on when that happened, and as I stumbled into the barn and called 911, and I'm bent over in a chair trying to suck air into my lung. I only had one working at that point. I knew they were going to have to cut all my clothes off, and I did manage to take this coat off when I was sitting there and throw it on the ground because I didn't want them to cut it because it's got so many years on it. It's been beat up so bad over the years. I didn't want to lose the coat. So I haven't had it on since then, but I put it on today because I figured, what the heck, I'm here a year later because of all the great medics that helped me out and the circumstances working out the way they did. So we're going to go in now, and we're gonna actually look at the horse that I was on that day. He still talks to me, and we're gonna go in. I want you to see this guy, and he'll tell you that he's okay with me now. Well, here we are in the barn with Tex, and this is the guy that he and I had quite the experience a year ago. And you have no desire to step on a power line again, do you, pal? Huh? Thank goodness you didn't get hurt. He did fine. Scared us both to death, and like I said, I ended up in the hospital for 7 days. And when I got out, I went to the stall to look at him, and all I got was his rear end aiming at me, so he wasn't really too hot on paying much attention to me a week later, but time's gone by and he's fine now. And this guy's what they call a Kentucky mountain horse, which is another, what they call a gaited horse, or walking horse. They're very smooth. He's a pretty big guy, he carries me real well, and he's taken over from my other black horse, Max, who's really retired, who was my main cowboy action shooting horse and trail horse and cavalry horse and all that other stuff. Do everything horse, and this guy can do the same thing. He's just a lot younger. He's about 10, 12 years younger than Max. Where are you going? Can't leave. Don't leave. Come back here. Look pretty, bud. He wasn't real thrilled as far as the cowboy action shooting and that stuff went when we started. And unlike Max, my older horse, he took to it real fast and actually really liked it. This guy basically did it because I asked him, because he's a very willing horse. Wasn't real thrilled with it, but he'll do anything. And he's one of those horses, if you give him a chance, he'll figure it out and he'll do anything you ask him to do. Once you're a big guy. Okay.